Welcome to the Business Lounge. Now, the great thing about having conversations in this sort of format is that I get to meet, and then hopefully you get to meet, some people with truly inspirational tales to tell, and more so perhaps than my guest today. Nigel Brown is from Nigel Brown's Cookery Academy, based in North East Lincolnshire, aren't you?
That's right, Barton upon Humber, just over the river.
And you've always been around cooking and food with a family business.
Yeah, I grew up with food and in the food environment. My parents used to run a very successful restaurant and business in Driffield in East Yorkshire called the Four Winds, which for many years, obviously, as I say, I grew up in that kind of trade. And went through the whole catering experience right through the colleges in Hull, 2 years in Hull College there, and just followed through from there really to really where we are now, which has been quite a journey in between.
And was it always expected of you, and did you always think that you would go into the catering industry?
There was possibly a slight element of that. I have 2 brothers older than me and a sister younger than me, so I suppose you might say, followed in my brother's footsteps as well. You know, they both went to the same catering colleges, and I almost felt like the pressure was on because they were doing so well through the colleges, becoming student of the year and so on. So I thought, well, I better try and keep up as well. And I'll be quite honest and truthful, I wasn't the brightest button in the box at school. If anything, school was probably not my better years. But I thought it's time to prove myself through the college years, and really did, and kept up with my brothers, and my sister obviously followed through as well.
And you were quite introverted at school, weren't you?
I was. If there was a school reunion, I would probably be I was the quietest boy in school. And if there was a school reunion and they said, "Is Nigel Brown coming?" they'd say, "Who?" Was it our school? And I really was, but not many people would even know I was even there. I was so shy, so reserved, so quiet. But to be sat here today talking to you now, would you really believe it?
So how did you
it's
do
true.
It? I mean, how did you get from one extreme to the other?
Well, they say behind every successful man there's a woman, and on this true occasion there really is. My wife Lisa, she literally had to push me out of the car of my door for an interview on one occasion, somewhere not a million miles away from where we're sat now actually, for an interview for a teaching position, which when you go from being shyest boy in school to applying for a teaching position in secondary education is really quite a big milestone and jump and leap. But I bit the bullet, I went for it, and just kind of followed through again and kind of enjoyed it. Few ups and downs along the way, but changed a few directions, still in catering and teaching, did some teaching for the Grimsby Institute as well, and really kind of found my place, I think, in life as far as kind of being able to publicly speak, deliver some knowledge to people that are interested, and really just went from there.
One of the things that strikes me though, Nigel, is that you haven't followed the kind of traditional route of catering. Your family had a restaurant, the Four Winds, as you've said. One would have thought the obvious choice would have been for you to go into restaurant ownership or that side of the business, but you've gone away from that and gone into teaching. Yeah,
well, there's an element of a restaurant business we've just recently got involved with, actually, in partnership with another guy, which I'll tell you about shortly. But I left home at the age of 21, I think it was, and I went down to Bright Lights at Heathrow to work in a lot of the hotels in the kind of the Heathrow strip there, as they call it. And I was down there for about 5 or 6 years. So I did very much the industrial catering side of it in the hotels, like the large banqueting numbers and so on. And then specialised in things like patisserie work. And I even had a month over in Paris at a French patisserie school at one point, which was invaluable knowledge from my point of view to what I do now, obviously. So I didn't then thought to say to myself, I now want a restaurant of my own, because to me it comes with a lot of headaches, a lot of risks, and a lot of downfalls. There are obviously the upsides. But you've got to kind of weigh up, where you want to be in life, and there's the long hours and social hours, the staffing issues, which I don't want to get involved with that side of thing. I still like to be in catering, but in my own world, I suppose you might say, but to let other people in, which works perfectly. So I didn't go down the restaurant trade, but just recently I've got involved with a guy called Mal Nicholson, who owns and has restored a boat called the Spider Tea. And we're about to start doing some private dinners, which obviously you can book for a table of 10 or 12, and it's called the Old Maritime Secret Supper Club, which is something very new, very different, and very exclusive. So when you talk about restaurants, we haven't got a restaurant, but we've got something better. So there's something to watch out for.
And what about the Cookery Academy? How did that come about?
The Cookery Academy came about 3.5 years ago now. Just slightly backtracking, myself and my wife, we produced some DVDs for children wanting to learn to cook, for young teenagers going to university, for all making chilies and curries and incorporating food hygiene, which again, I'm a registered food hygiene centre as well. in my own right, and also for adults wanting to do a dinner party. So if they weren't sure how to make a start on doing a dinner party, we actually produced a DVD which came with a complete booklet with all your ingredients, even down to which aisle to go down the supermarket, because obviously supermarkets have got generic aisles, dairy, cheese, fruit and veg and so on, wines and spirits, so we couldn't make it any easier for people. So we decided to then sell the DVDs at food festivals and events, and I did an event down in Melton Mowbray back in 2007 it was, the very first cookery demonstration I did on stage, and I followed on just after a guy called John Christophe Novelli, which you might have heard of. He's quite a popular guy. And I'd done my demonstration, and then towards the end, I'd finished there, he came around to come and see me, and he said, "Oh, chef, fantastic demonstration. You must come to my cookery school, his Novelli Academy in his own farmhouse in Hertfordshire, and deliver some courses." So I thought, well, that wasn't on the game plan when I got out of bed this morning. So we got in touch. We organised a course called Passionate Puddings and Decadent Desserts in his own farmhouse kitchen, and went down a storm. So it was really from there that I came up the M1, with a nice cheque signed, by JC, thinking cookery school from home. That's not a bad idea. Within 3 months, we had our website up and running. We were taking bookings for cookery courses in our own home for up to 4 or 5 people. And it really went from there. And that was 3.5 years ago, to the point where last June we actually moved to new premises in the Rope Walk in Barton upon Humber, where we can take up to 8 or 12 people on a larger scale, but still very kind of intimate and in a very domesticated type of environment of kitchen. So that's how we've kind of got to cookery school, from doing the teaching and kind of just creeping along the way at the same time.
But it's about business development as well, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
It's wonderful the story that you tell as to how you've come to be at the Rope Walk. How do you keep that momentum going and keep people coming in?
Well, we work a lot with other business partners as well. I mean, primarily it's our business. We run it. We decide, what courses we want to run, when we want to run them, how many people we want on them, what other kind of business activities we do around it, whether it's cookery demonstrations or fine dining in people's homes or so on. But we attract people through companies like Buy a Gift, which are, again, a big national gift experience company online. So we get a lot of voucher sales through them. And then we do also find that once then people have come to us, either through Buy a Gift or other sources, because they like what they do, they go away and they think, I want to come back again for more. And it's word of mouth. People go and then tell their friends and they want to come back. And we offer incentives. We say, if you come back again, we'll do you a 10% discount. And it's just constantly kind of evolving all the time. So, things like business plans, we have one today, tomorrow it'll change. It's always, continually evolving.
Looking at new opportunities.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Cookery has become, to use the phrase, really cool over the last 5 or 6 years, hasn't it? What's your take on these celebrity chefs, Jamie Oliver and James Martin that we mentioned?
Personally, I think they're all doing a great job. If there's room for me on that screen as well, that's great too. Everyone's got a different style, haven't they? You've got Gordon Ramsays of the world, which are all effing and blinding and all the rest. You've got your Jamie Olivers, which are very much for the kind of the younger, kind of hip and trendy, 30 minutes, meals and so on. Where would I see myself fitting into that kind of regime, you might say? I would say I'm the Anton de Beck of the kitchen. So, we haven't got Keith Lloyd anymore, unfortunately. I could quite happily take his place. But yes, from my point of view, I think they're doing a great job. And like you say, food in general on TV is such a huge, big interest with everybody.
But isn't there a danger that they make it slightly unrealistic? They showbiz it so much.
There is.
Gives us false hopes.
There's a big danger of that, not just from the showbiz side of it, but from the ingredients they're using. Now, if anyone comes to my Cookery Academy, all the ingredients we're using are just regular ingredients that you can find on your local shelves. We're not using cuts of meat which have to come from Borneo, every Thursday you go down to, the market to go and get it. It's not going to happen, is it? It's got to be regular ingredients that regular people can use, and we do regular recipes which are very, clean, cut, and very efficient as well.
Where would you like to see yourself in, I don't know, maybe 5 years' time? A Gino D'Acampo, a James Martin?
Well,
how do you see it?
Dare I say it, we're kind of going that way in a way. We're working with a lot of big names. Last year we did an event with James Martin at the Hull Truck Theatre, which again, it packed out 3 audiences of nearly 500 people ago. This year we're doing the same event with John Christophe Novelli, which I mentioned earlier, which is very excited to come along and work with me to do it as well. So that's all great stuff. And when you talk about 2, 3, 5 years' time, there's a possibility next year, 2012, we've had interest from a food festival in Adelaide in Australia. For myself and James Martin to maybe go out there and do chefs on tour, or Yorkshire chefs on tour. So that's all very early stages, but it's constantly, thinking ahead, not just being sat still and stagnant. So 3, 5 years' time, I think probably doing exactly what we're doing now, but probably doing it even better and to a bigger audience and attracting more people. So we don't see, you know, or envisage, you know, Nigel Brown Cookery Academies in, you know, Lincolnshire, Hertfordshire, you know, Wales and so on. We're just quite happy with the size it is, being very manageable, because I think that's the other key is, you know, you can grow too big too quick, take on too many people, it gets out of control, too many chiefs, not enough Indians and so on. So we like to keep it very small, compact, very personal, because it's a very personal experience what people come for with us. They get me teaching, not under the chef, and that's what people like.
Well, continued success, not only with the cooking, but with the academy and the Yorkshire chefs on tour.
Thank you very much.
Very exciting. Nigel, good to meet you.
Thank you.
Nigel Brown.